Board of Selectmen of, are we recording?
Not yet.
Oh, I'll gotta do it over again then.
We are recording.
Board of Selectmen for Thursday, January 28th at 7 PM. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, Chapter 30, Section 18, this public meeting of the Town of Bolton Board of Selectmen is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but the public can access this meeting while in progress by Zoom video communications. We ask that all participants utilize the raised hand function on the Zoom screen to address the board. Keep your microphone on mute until you've been asked by the chair to speak, and either through your names on Zoom, or when you speak, please make sure you tell us your first and last name. So beginning tonight, we have a review and discussion of comments related to the vegetative management plan. I would like to start by saying we've received an updated copy provided by Randy that has a significant amount of edits in it. I think the effect of the edits is to make the entire document much more readable, so I appreciate that. I would like to address one change I see in the document, and this is at the very bottom of page 4 and at the beginning of page 5, where it said that motorized truck, tractor, or ATV mounted application equipment will not be used by the town or its contractors without the prior approval of the select board and may only be used on higher density target vegetation. The issue I have with that is requiring the select board, the Board of Selectmen, to approve this beforehand. We don't do that with any other contractors or resources in town, so I don't think we should be doing it with this, if only for the sake of consistency. And also, if this is done, it would be most likely done in July and August, when the board only meets once a month. So I don't want to impede any work that needs to be done because of variations in weather and other things like that too. So I put it to the other selectmen that I would like to see the reference to prior approval of the select board removed from the document.
I support that.
I think it's an important safeguard. I don't think we are ever going to be spraying roadsides with large truck sprayers. I just don't think there's support in the community for it. I think it's very dangerous considering the chemicals we're talking about. You know, the main thrust of this document is very, careful use, and broadcast spraying, with an ATV, a Jeep, a truck, it sounds really careless in terms of air quality, in terms of water quality, all sorts of issues. So I think if this is ever going to be proposed, I think it's good to have an extra level of safeguard.
Well, I think there are a number of safeguards about that application elsewhere in the document. So I understand your concerns, but I think they're addressed.
I would agree with the chairman on that. I would approve that we strike that.
Did somebody ring in? Did I hear a ring? Is somebody raising their hand?
We have not opened it up for discussion yet, Jonathan, so.
Right.
I think this whole plan is based upon, being very careful and using things of the last resort. And I think that to Bob's point, there are a lot of safeguards in this plan. I don't think we're going to be arbitrary and capricious in doing a Mad Max kind of spraying around the town with Mel Gibson at the wheel. So I think we're okay. And to Bob's point, if this is going to be applied during the summer, we can't wait weeks and weeks before a Board of Selectmen meeting is done. And I think between Don and Randy, that there's certainly enough safeguards and careful discussion that'll take place before something gets done.
So I would make a motion that the words without the prior approval of the select board and be stricken from the document.
I'll second that.
Were we going to open this up to discussion? Did anybody have their hands up?
We will open this up to discussion when the selectmen are finished discussing among themselves first. We're not voting on the whole document yet, just making this one change.
I said I second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
You're on mute or something.
Nope. Roll
Okay.
call, Wysocki,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Oh, I meant nay, sorry. We can do that again.
I could let the minutes reflect you as a nay if that's sufficient.
Yep, that's perfect.
All right. Would the other selectmen like to address any other portions of the document?
I'm fine with it. I was fine with the original document, so I'm fine with this.
I just say that the 3-year limit on record keeping, I think that should be just ongoing or at least extended to 5 years. So this is record keeping. When we spray an area that has poison ivy, that we're going back and looking at, has it grown back or not? I think it's important that we're evaluating how successful, when we use herbicides, we're evaluating how successful it is. I don't think 3 years really gives us that information.
Where is this?
I don't have the page number right now.
Page 5. Page 5 under record keeping.
It says for at least 3 years.
Right.
I mean, I think records should be just kept on this continually as long as we're doing this program.
Well, it says for at least 3 years, and if the management at the time decides they need it longer, they just won't throw it out.
Right. Exactly.
Randy, are these type of records, are they all going to be on the computer or are they paper?
I would hope we'd get to that point, yes, as part of our work management control process, but I cannot guarantee at this point that it's on the computer. I would not have an objection to be 5 years. I think I just chose 3 as a fallback, but 5 years, not a big deal as far as I'm concerned.
So the DPW are there only 2 computers, yours and Leslie's? Are the staff
right?
Do they have a work computer?
Right now, those are the only 2 computers, correct?
And just as a point, once we do get this on one of the computers, which I hope is sooner rather than later, we do not delete files on computers. They are permanent records and the computers are backed up.
Right.
So once we get them on the computer, they'll be there hopefully in perpetuity.
And I would point out the next sentence, which says that this is not just for herbicides. This is for all physical, mechanical things also. So if someone goes in there with a hand pruner, they're going to keep records of that for at least 3 years. I'm I'm fine with leaving that the way it is.
Yep. I would agree.
You want to have a vote on it, Jonathan?
No.
Okay. Are there any other issues people would like to bring to the attention of, do the selectmen have anything else they want to bring forward?
Not me.
No, that's
Okay.
it.
I would then open this up to participants, other people who are viewing the Board of Selectmen. At this point, I do not see any raised hands. Jenny, if I'm not looking in the right spot, let me know.
I also do not see any raised hands or chats.
Okay. In that case, I will just go ahead and ask for a vote on approving a motion to approve the vegetation management plan.
I'll make a motion that we approve the vegetative management plan of the town of Bolton, Massachusetts for the years 2021 through 2025.
I
As
will
so
second
presented.
that. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Roll
All those-
call. Waisaki,
aye,
Keep,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Heglin.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Brandon.
Thank you all.
I mean,
Have a nice
you're
evening.
free to stay,
too.
but appreciate it.
make sure that storm goes away from us, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, I appreciate that.
I'll do my best.
Next is review and acceptance of a policy on ambulance fees, billing, and collections. Chief Legendre of the Fire EMS Department. Good evening.
Evening, everybody. How are you?
Good, how are you tonight, sir?
Good, thank you, sir. So this year, proposing no change. We had a change last year for the first time in, I believe it was 6 or 7 years. So we're going to remain the same as I proposed last year at this time for the BLS rate, ALS 1 rate, ALS 2 rate, in the ALS intercept rate, which we discussed last year, which has come to fruition as of January 4th with the start of the Bolton paramedic service. So all remain the same. If you would like me to review the rates, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yes, go ahead.
So on the BLS rate is $1,385. The ALS 1 rate is $1,792. The ALS 2 rate is $3,070. Our ALS intercept rate currently stands at $325, and the mileage is $30 a mile. This was from a review of all the area towns when we set this last year. And again, we were right in the middle of most of the fire district 8 towns that were reviewed, those that are in the same fire district that Bolton is. The ALS rate was from area paramedic services in the area, again, within District 8 and District 14, which abuts us. Currently, we have signed agreements with the town of Berlin, the town of Harvard, the town of Lancaster, and the town of Stowe to provide advanced life support paramedic service between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. 7 days a week.
All right, thank you.
Impressive. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Nope.
I have one on the document you provided to us. It's a one-page document. It says policy on ambulance fees, billings, and collections. Item number 5.
Mhm.
It says Bolton Fire EMS will not credit report, but will make every effort to bill all patients. I don't understand that. Is there a section missing from that?
No, that is, we do not want to go to creditors. That has been a long-standing policy that was in there prior to the merger of the departments. Several departments in the area do have that. The billing company we are contracted with does send 3 bills. We have sent an additional bill on our behalf. And after that, we do not go to collections.
Okay, but it's just, I guess it's just the way it's worded then. Will not credit report, but will make every effort. That's just not obvious to me what that means. So maybe
Clean that up a little bit.
that's all. Yeah, just so it's understandable. I don't have any issue with what you're saying. It's just not clear from that.
That was number 5, correct?
That's right. It just wasn't clear. That's what you mean.
Okay. I will.
Any other questions about the fire EMS rates?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
We need a motion to approve this, Don?
You're on mute, Don. You're on mute.
I was trying desperately to unmute. Yes, please, please make a motion to approve.
All right. Could I have a motion to accept the policy on ambulance fees, billings and collections as presented?
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Go
Sorry,
ahead.
sorry. Roll call, Wysocki,
Aye.
Keep,
aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Yeah, somebody
We
wants to
need-
get home early. That's right.
I'm so focused on projecting toward my laptop so you can hear me.
Mr. Chairman, do we need to amend that just to, because there'll be an edit?
It'll be an edit the next time this is presented, not tonight.
Well, actually, Jonathan makes a very good point because you're approving it tonight. So actually, I should have said that the motion really should reflect a vote on the edit as well,
The
because you're
edit-
approving the document. I'm sorry?
The edit that I suggested?
Yes.
Well, my point was just to clean it up for next time. If it's been like that for years.
Yeah,
we
I'm
don't
fine
actually
with the
have
way
the
it is
wording
now.
for it
Yeah,
tonight.
Okay. So the next time Jeff brings it back, he should have for approval, whatever the next approval is.
Yeah.
He'll
Next
have
year.
adjusted the wording.
Yeah.
All right.
Be next year.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's fine.
All right.
If I've cleaned up for you.
okay, thank you. So did we complete that roll call?
We did.
Okay,
Yep.
You did.
thank you. Thank you, chief.
Thanks,
Thank you
chief.
very much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Next up is a consideration of a request from Bolton Youth Baseball and Softball for the use of technology called Live Barn. And I believe Jeff Tackle is with us this evening to discuss it. Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yep.
thank you. Tell us what's going on.
So we met with a vendor who has an interesting technology and we wanted to explore it together. So we brought it to Parks and Rec and had a discussion. They suggested that we share it with you and just sort of make sure everyone's aware and solicit feedback. So the technology, the company is called Live Barn, and they're used in youth sports all over. They're pretty heavy in hockey, and they're starting to expand into baseball and other sports. Essentially what they do is they put a camera system, a motion activated camera system up behind home plate. And this allows the games to be broadcast with video to parents and grandparents and friends and family and that sort of thing. So that when they can't make it to the game, they can actually log in, find their child's playtime, and then kind of watch the game remotely using the video system. Quite a few sports have something somewhat similar, different apps and things where a parent or a coach will kind of manually tap updates on what's happening, and it allows parents and others that aren't there to kind of keep tabs on the game and find out if their kids got 2 balls and 3 strikes or whatever, whatever the situation is. What is interesting about the offer is that it doesn't cost anything to Bolton Youth Baseball or to Parks and Rec or to the town. The business model is they put the camera up and then parents who are interested subscribe and pay, I think there's a couple different plans, but say $15 a month so that they can log in and watch their kids' games and that sort of thing remotely. The company comes and does the installation. They are responsible for the equipment. They own the equipment. If it breaks, if it doesn't communicate, they pay the internet. They kind of do everything. It costs them about $85 a month, but in their experience, they end up getting, 10 or 20 parents or whatever it happens to be for the sport to sign up for subscriptions, and it pays for itself from their perspective. So we first just got kind of a marketing outreach. We had a couple of calls with them to try to understand what the technology was, brought it up in the last Parks and Rec meeting and say, hey, this is what it is, made the introduction because the fields are sort of run by Parks and Rec, and we're just the happy hosts on the field. And it seemed to make sense from everybody's perspective. But before we did anything or told them yes or no, we wanted to check in and see if there were thoughts on this as a technology, because it is something different and it was kind of new to us. Folks who have kids in hockey, I guess, have been doing this for a couple of years, but it's the first time I'm aware in baseball locally.
No, I'm fine with it.
I have a question about it. I was reading some of the documentation that was distributed to us with it about this prior to tonight. And one of the things that struck me is that Live Barn will own the content. And, we're dealing with young kids. Their names are going to be called out. I'm ignorant about this stuff, so I'm asking a real basic question: is what assures the children's privacy after the game in particular?
It's a good question, and I had some of the same questions, which was so I think the answer is that a certain field will have a camera, and I'm unaware of a way to filter words out or filter people out. So one of the things we discussed is in the waiver that we have parents sign when they sign their kids up would include some information to say, there is a camera at the field and the kids playing the game will be, part of the system. It's a good question. I think our thinking on it right now is twofold. I get, the parents haven't expressed a lot of concerns in this so far, but it's a valid question. I kind of had a version of that myself. And it is being used in other sports, and I haven't heard any concerns about it so far. I'm not sure if that's a great answer. And I don't work at Live Barn. I'm just doing my best to interpret between the different parties that be.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard about it before. It was brought up as part of tonight's agenda. So I don't have any stories to tell or anything like that. But I guess the next question is, if something happens, is the town liable, Mr. Town Administrator?
What would?
Well, I'm not sure what would happen, but if the parents are signing waivers, no, the town would not be liable. I can't see where they would be.
Okay.
One thing we could do that might make just sort of practical sense to me anyway is putting, we would be communicating this as well to the league. And if people throw up their hands and say no, and they don't like it, we can always just take it down and have the company return it. I think it could be that people aren't uncomfortable with it,
So who signs the contract? Parks and Rec or the baseball league or?
Yeah, so the Parks and Rec would be the one to sign the contract. It's not with Bolton. It's not our facility. It's not our land.
Okay, because it also says that even if they take out the equipment, we can't sign with somebody else for 6 years. So just as long as they're aware that that's a restriction.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it.
I had some questions as well. So if the town is signing this contract, it's quite a contract. It requires the owners to do some publicity work and promote the service. So I just to get going, I think we need to have council review the contract.
Jonathan, if I could add to that, please. that's the one area that I have some concerns. It's section 6 marketing. Actually, that entire section I have concerns about. As long as it's accepted that it's Bolton Youth Baseball who are putting the links up on their website, because we do not do advertising on the town website for anything. And to your point, Parks and Rec is signing this, so somehow we need to make it clear that any marketing type of function or support that's listed in section 6 would need to be done by Bolton Youth Baseball and not by the town of Bolton.
And we'd be happy to do that,
And then, so I just had another question, reading through the contract, it sounded like they share some of the money with Parks and Rec or with Bolton Youth Baseball?
Any deals that get, on that with the revenue share would be with Parks and Rec, wouldn't be with us.
Okay, and then you're saying it's only gonna be one camera behind home plate?
As
for
far as I know,
fields?
yeah. Say that again, the last part, I'm sorry.
Just for the two fields, the two baseball fields? one
Yeah,
camera each?
it would only be on the Bolton Capitol Field, the one with the lights.
Okay. Yeah, so there, there is language in there just about the camera going on, when people are, between games or other times of the year when you just have kids kind of walking through the area or people just playing in the area, they are going to get filmed. So I do have some concerns about privacy. I know that schools and other organizations get people to sign off before taking pictures because they're concerned about situations where maybe the child's in danger of being kidnapped by an estranged parent or something like that. So I do have concerns about privacy. And then I just wonder, is this something that we could do locally with Batco rather than kind of bringing in this company with a really big contract, to record our games? We could be doing this for less, maybe for free with Batco. So I just wonder, have you explored this idea of filming baseball games and having them play on our, Bolton Access television?
I'll give you the Bolton Youth Baseball position, which is we don't have any extra capacity with the volunteers. It would be a hard sell for me to get people doing more work in the field. So one of the things that's appealing anyway is that it doesn't cost anything up front and it doesn't take any manpower. We would absolutely, I think we would probably welcome a Bolton local television, but I don't know that we have any actual capacity on our side to do much with that.
And neither would Bolton Access Television.
Yeah, they don't have, they've already said they don't have the bandwidth to do that.
My impression though, and maybe I missed this when I was reading this stuff, is that this is a live broadcast. They're not going to record it.
It does get recorded in the cloud for 30 days and then it gets deleted automatically after 30 days.
Oh, okay.
Some of the kids will use it to create clips for their own, for like highlight reels and for scholarship submissions and things like that for sports. So it's in the cloud for 30 days and then automatic rolling.
Okay.
Well,
Jeff,
that's
Jonathan's concern about the camera being on between games and when there are no games and so forth, could that be dealt with if there was a procedure of turning the server off after every game and then turned on? Is it as simple as that, or is it more complex than that?
I'm not sure I have the full answer. I'm not sure I have the full answer. I know that sort of the way they set it up is to be this thing that takes no attendance and takes no manual manipulation so that they don't have their own labor costs. So I'm pretty sure that the default mechanism is just as you said, it's there and it'll be motion activated as somebody walks across it, it'll turn on. And the remediation, I guess, there would be just to have signage that say this field is under video surveillance or something like that. We could ask them if there's a way to do it where you manually switch it on or switch it off.
Yeah, I personally, I think that would be important. I obviously I see the value in people being able to see the their kids or grandkids or nieces and nephews playing a game, especially during these times, I think it's great. But I see no need to have the field being broadcast, whatever you want to call it, when there's nothing going on. Really, nobody should be watching who's on the field just when they're playing or whatever. I think that's a really important point that I hadn't considered until it was brought up.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, we'd catch a lot of raccoons in action out there too, remember. Mr. Herbison has his hand up. Yes, sir.
On the privacy issue that was raised,
Could you speak up a little bit, please?
on the privacy issue that was raised, if someone has a foster child, they need to not let the name of the foster child or location of the foster child be disclosed. If you broadcast the games, foster children would not be able to play on that field at all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just to clarify in case there's confusion about the technical side, and this is only a partial thing, maybe to respond to that. There is no announcer, there is no name, but it does open the possibility that somebody says, "Hey, Billy," or something like that. I mean, if people are talking about it and it's in the video, then I think you're right. It would be in the video. Yeah, I mean, this is a standalone system that just turns on and turns off and records whenever there's motion, and these are certainly scenarios where that would come into play. I'd also say, like, if people feel really, really strongly about it, we see this as a nice to have. That's great. The mobile app is, at my own kids, I know that with the mobile app, when I was working in Boston before COVID and driving home, I didn't make all the games. I could turn it on, and it's pretty cool. It sort of sounds like the game happening. Not that you do that, not that you watch a video when you're driving home, but I'm just saying it has its advantages, as a parent and as a family, but it does come with these trade-offs. But if people felt really, really strongly negative about it, I mean, I don't think there's anybody that's banging the drum super loud. We had a lot of these same discussions about, like, is there a privacy issue? Do we feel comfortable about who has access to the video? And at least in our discussions so far, we thought some signage on the field would be a good idea, just to say, hey, this is under video surveillance. We thought we would amend the waiver to just let people know. But I think that's why I want to bring it to you too, because if this doesn't feel like it's the right move, if it feels too much in that gray area, then you can go back.
Well, it's just that land belongs to the town. It's a public park, and what you're doing is making it, more limited just to Bolton baseball instead of the whole town. So if you have people who don't want to be filmed, they won't want to use it or can't use it. So it just raises an issue of, like, the baseball, you've done a lot of great improvements there, but it still belongs to everybody. And so I have privacy concerns. And I do think, if others want to go ahead with this, that it should be reviewed by town council, the contract, because it has a lot of obligations in there for the owners.
It just seems odd to me that it would be recording every time there's motion 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Maybe you want to get that clarified?
Yeah, I can get some clarification. If there are some throttles of some kind, we can turn it off in the off season and that sort of a thing. These are good questions.
Yeah, if it can be turned off during the week and just turn on weekends when the games are being played, and turned off when they're done, I think that would rectify the situation.
Okay. There's games every weeknight, right?
Yeah, it depends on the part of the time of the year and whatnot,
Well, you turn it on when the game starts, and then turn it off when it's done.
So I can find out and communicate back. Unfortunately, Kevin who knows a little bit more about this than I do, was not able to make it tonight.
I mean, even if it just comes down to hanging a piece of plastic in front of it to block the sensor. Then everybody knows whether or not the thing is operating or not. So.
And meanwhile, I'll be happy to have council, to Jonathan's point, review the contract.
Yeah, and if you could get a couple neighboring towns that use this, that we could reference, that, preferably someone who's used it for more than a year, or didn't get a lot of use last year. That would be helpful too, so we could learn from their experience.
Yeah. I can do that. I
Yeah.
know that some of the hockey families have said that this is in most of the places where they play hockey. So,
Yeah, but those aren't public places the way Memorial Field is. So,
yeah, I'll ask. I'll see what they're doing. I mean, as far as I know, this was the first that I had heard of it a couple months ago, and we sort of started talking to them. And hockey is the place they've really had the most ground. So I'll try to see if we got a baseball.
you know, it's a good idea. It's just, there's a lot of ambiguity before we really buy into it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, why don't I go back? I'll get some more information. I'll report back.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having give me
Thank
some
you for
time.
putting in the effort here.
No
Good
problem.
night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Were there any other hands up? No, good. Next is the long-awaited town administrator report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, the most recent COVID update. I can tell you that as of tonight, Bolton has returned to the green category. So very pleased about that. Hopefully we'll be in the gray before you know it. Our positivity test rate over the last 2 weeks is down to 2.65 from a previous number of 3.04. Harvard, and statewide, as of the numbers that were released tonight, the state is down to 4.4 positivity rate for on a 7-day rolling average and down from a high of 8.5. As far as area towns, Harvard is also green, Stowe is yellow, Clinton, Berlin, Lancaster, and Hudson are all red. So I'm glad to see that we've gotten back into the green category, and we seem to be trending in a positive direction. Beyond that, the EMT cadet update, the team is working on the waiver for the state. I believe it's going to be ready to go into the state in the next week or so. A draft was sent out to the chief and me for review earlier this week. So I think we're heading in the right direction there. As you know, one of my goals for this year is to assess and hopefully implement an electric vehicle charging station in town. I've been working on that with a good deal of support, and not to get out over my skis, but we have a plan that's coming together, and I think it's going to happen, where we could site 2 of these, one at the Public Safety Building and one at the DPW near 117, so it'd be visible to 117. The concept right now is, and I don't have all the terminology down, so please bear with me, but the one at the Public Safety Building would be basically what I would call a standard charging station. Would take, some time for people to get a significant charge. The concept is there'll be a lot of people at ball games at the Memorial Field, and maybe someone would like to park over there while they're down there watching a ball game and charge their car. The station would be positioned, we don't have the final location yet, but basically as you face the Public Safety Building, it would be on obviously the left-hand side of the building where the public parks, and would be on the left-hand side of the lot as you enter. So we haven't finalized that. The one at the DPW would be more of what would be known as a quick charging station for people that are commuting and maybe need a charge. We do have 20,000 vehicle trips a day on 117, or if not commuting, at least people who still are driving around during the day that need to stop and get a charge. We would be able to, no pun intended, charge a fee for this, hopefully to recover our expenses. We're not looking for this to be a moneymaker, but it could cover our expenses once it gets popular. And between grants and incentives from DEP and National Grid, right now, the vision is that the cost to the town would be zero.
Okay.
So more to come, but that we've covered a lot of ground in the past few weeks, and I'm getting pretty excited about it.
Good.
So I'm hoping to have an update at the next meeting.
Good.
And before I get to the discussion on the article for change of reference to the select board, I just wanted to make one note. It's not on my agenda, it's just an FYI. But Tuesday evening, and as you all know, I am still an active board of trustee member at the Perkins School in Lancaster. I'm sorry, Perkins RFK now. And Tuesday evening, there was a panel discussion as part of the Conroy Speaker Series. The discussion was led by our CEO, Michael Ames, and it was on race and racism in America. Had a very, very good panel discussion. Took questions from the public. There were over 200 people registered to observe the panel discussion. One of the participants was Lieutenant Detective Everett Moody from the Lancaster Police Department. Thought it was really positive to have a police officer as part of the discussion. And Laura Friend, who was the middle school principal for Luther Burbank in Lancaster, was a panelist. And I just want to say how positively she represented the school district. You know, Laura's always a very positive person, very energetic person. She was very passionate about it. She lent a lot to the panel discussion, and I just wanted to make note of the fact that that I just thought she was incredibly impressive on the panel, as she always is. So just very well done by Laura. She really added a lot to it, I thought. And lastly, the update on the article to change official reference to select board. You had a draft of that put in your packet earlier this week. Jenny sent out a revised update this afternoon. The only change to it was the reference to chairman or chairwoman that would be replaced with chair or chairperson. So again, this is a first draft. I reviewed language that a couple other towns have used, got some input from Jenny and from Pam Powell, and collectively, this is what we came up with for your review and comment.
Looks good to me. Thank you, Don.
I'm still of the mind that while I think it's a great idea, the fact that it's going to cost the town between $4,000 and $6,000 to implement this is not the right time to do this. We have a number of capital items that are going to be brought forth on the ATM, including a fairly expensive piece of equipment for the fire department. And I don't think it's the right time. The fact that this has been generated by the chairman of the Board of Selectmen and not necessarily by a mandate by the citizens, I think we can wait on this, especially for $4,000 to $6,000. I would also ask if my other two colleagues are so inclined to really want to do this, that perhaps they should write the checks to cover the cost of this. If they think it's this important, they should step up and stroke a check. If not, I think we can wait for a time when we have a bit more flexibility in our budget. Otherwise, I think it's a good idea, but not now.
Well, I think until the budget solidifies, we should hold off on the financial aspects of this. As I read this, I'm not sure what words substitute for what words. And that makes the whole thing somewhat ambiguous to me. I mean, I agree with it. I just don't follow it precisely. It's also not clear to me if both paragraphs are part of the motion, or if just the first paragraph is part of the motion.
Both paragraphs are part of the motion, and the language as you see it, with the exception of the references to the chair, have been successfully used in other towns and been approved by the Attorney General.
Okay, but where do you use the phrase select board members or members of the select board? Yeah, that's the kind of thing, that's what I'm confused about.
Board of Selectmen would be replaced by Select Board. Selectmen, select men, select women, or select women with the word select board members. So after each phrase, there's a replacement phrase.
Okay,
So,
but when do you use members of the select board? If you're going to use select board members, when do you use the other option?
if you're using, if I understand the, I'm not sure I understand the question, but if I understand the question, it is after you would say, if you're refusing to, if you're referencing to people in the plural as opposed to the singular, if there's a group of people on the Board of Selectmen, you would reference select board members. An individual would be a select board member.
Right, but then it says, or members of the select board. So when would you use select board members? And when would you use members of the select board?
That wording is saying that's interchangeable. You can use either in place of the previously listed words. It's an or statement.
It is, but is that supposed to be decided on town floor?
No, it's just whatever, it's acceptable use.
Okay,
You know, one is synonymous with the other.
all right. So let me look at this because I think we should, I don't think we should be offering a choice like that. We should decide what we're going to recommend as opposed to just having a menu when we go.
Well, then, in that vein, we would need to look at all of it that way. For instance, you would need to decide, do you want to say chair or chairperson? Because that's the same type of or statement instead of chairman or chairwoman.
Yes, I agree. We need to make that decision. I agree.
Okay,
So let me look at it and I will come back with some recommendations.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. No, it looks good. It looks good. Any other comments on it?
Nope.
Okay. Next up is Board of Selectmen business. Are there any public service announcements?
Not tonight.
None. Okay.
I may
Next
have
is-
some next week, but not tonight.
Next is review and execute a conservation restriction for 183 Harvard Road. Don, could you introduce this?
Yes, this is a new requirement based on a recent change to the law. If I understand correctly, the Conservation Trust will still maintain responsibility for this, but the board needs to vote as well.
Have we voted on this piece of property before?
Not to my recollection, no.
Okay. I'm thinking of another spot on Harvard Road then. I read, it seems pretty boilerplate, nothing unusual. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. It's very pro forma.
Are there any other discussions about the conservation restriction for 183 Harvard
Nope.
Road? All right, do I have a motion to, let's see. We, the undersigned, being a majority of the Board of Selectmen of the town of Bolton, hereby certify that at a public meeting duly held on January 28th, the Board of Selectmen voted to approve the foregoing conservation restriction from Thomas C. Welch to the Bolton Conservation Trust in the public interest pursuant to Section 32 of Chapter 184 of the Massachusetts General Laws. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Roll call, Waisaki,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Welch.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see, are we ahead of schedule a little bit? No, not much.
No, Schedule.
Discussion and possible appointment in the Neshoba Regional School District Audit Committee. Is David with us this evening?
I don't see him. He has indicated that he is willing to serve.
Then let's go.
All right, would someone like to, let's just make this official and appoint him a second time then.
I'll make a motion that we appoint David Yesway to the Neshoba Regional School District Audit Committee for Bolton.
Second that.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Roll, wait, let's make sure that's not him. Nope. Roll call, Waisaki,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, David. Next up is a discussion on the adoption of a possible vote on the adoption of an order for taking of a drainage easement for property located at 5 Spectacle Hill Road. Don,
And as
just
advised by
summarize
town
it.
council- As advised by town council, this is a necessary next step in the process that's already been ordered by the Board of Selectmen. It's a formal step for you to vote to have the order issued.
Okay, do I have a motion to issue the order?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Roll call, Waisaki,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Approve bills and payroll warrants W 21-15 and W 21-15A. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Roll call, Waisaki,
Aye.
Keep,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Thank you.
And we have minutes.
We have 2 sets of minutes. The first is December 10th. And I'll share those now. Actually, those had no changes. Would you like to see both sets before you vote?
Nope.
What's the other set for?
The other set was for January the 14th. Let me make sure I have the date correct.
Yeah. 14th,
January
you
the
had-
14th, and there was
Yeah.
one small change.
Why don't you just show us that?
Okay.
Because inquiring minds want to know.
And while we had the roll call vote in there correct, or I had the roll call vote in there correct, I logged Mr. Waisaki as a yes, and I've changed him to a no.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of December 10th and January 14th?
So moved, but isn't it both the minutes of December 10th and the open session and executive session minutes of the 14th of January?
Vote on the executive session minutes until we're in executive session, so I'll have
Okay,
those for
fine,
you.
that's fine. So I'll make the motion for December 10th and January 14th open session meeting minutes.
Second,
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye,
Roll call, Waisaki,
aye,
Heap,
aye.
and Sikansky.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. This completes this portion of the open meeting section of tonight's Board of Selectmen's meeting. The Board of Selectmen meeting,
No,
pardon me?
no, we're coming back to open session after executive session.
Yeah, okay. That's why I said this portion, but that, it was
Oh,
clearer.
I'm sorry.
It was clearer for you to make it that way. So pursuant to Board of Selectmen would like to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining for the AFS-CME Council Number 93 DPW unit, as the chair finds that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the board's bargaining position. To discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining for the Bolton Police Union, Local 286, Massachusetts Coalition of Police, IUPA, AFL-CIO, as the chair finds that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the board's bargaining position. The board will reconvene to open session immediately following the executive session. Do I have a motion to enter executive session?
so moved.
Second,
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye,
Roll call, Waisaki,
aye,
Heap,
aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Thank you. Give me just a few minutes to move everyone into the waiting room.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, hey, the gang's all here.
Everyone's back in? Okay. Could I have a motion to ratify the memorandum of agreement with the Bolton Police Union Local 286, Massachusetts Coalition of Police?
I'll make a motion that we ratify the of agreement MOA with Bolton Police Union Local 286 Massachusetts Coalition of Police. And we authorize Mr. Don Lowe to be the signatory on the document.
Second,
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye,
Roll call, Wysocki,
aye,
Keep,
aye.
Sikansky.
aye.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Roll call, Wysocki,
aye.
Keep,
aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
And the time for the record is 8:06 PM.
All right, we got a lot done tonight. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Jenny, Don.
Aye,
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Stay warm.
So.
aye.